Hello everybody, this is Shadowbox and welcome back to the flight deck in our Microsoft Flight Simulator flight from Juneau, Alaska to Edmonton, Canada. As you can see, we are descending from our cruising altitude going straight down to 5,000 feet. In the cruise, I decided to go ahead and program a transition for our ILS approach. So before we were coming in through Esky, we were going to come out along this route here, this green route here, and then I was just going to take vectors back into the ILS. I decided to go ahead and program in the VIGV transition. So now instead of turning out and going around this way, we're going to be just coming straight in for the ILS here. And the altitude restriction for VIGV is 5,000 feet. So that's what we're shooting for now. And as you can see, according to Navigraph, we're about here. I think once we pass VIGV, I'm going to go ahead and get us straight down to about 3,400 feet, just because that is the altitude that we're going to intercept the glide slope at. Decision height for this landing, we are a full ILS Category C aircraft, I want to say, and 200 feet above, 200 feet radar altitude is our decision height. So that is already programmed in, and go around procedure or missed approach, we're going to be climbing on heading 020, intercepting the radial 32 on the outbound CYEG VOR to 5,000 feet, and then heading to TDUG here, which is actually to the north. And then from TDUG, we'll figure out how to get back around to, once we're in the hold around TDUG, we'll figure out how to come back around to here. I don't anticipate we're going to need it, but you never know. Sometimes unanticipated things happen. So let's go ahead and let's get most of this data put into our FMC. And keeping an eye on our altitude as well. We're just descending at a steady 1,000 feet per minute. Alright, let's, I'm going to go ahead and turn off track IR for using the FMC. Normally I would just put the camera where I want it and then pause, but it's not working like that lately. So you can see I've already got the VIGV transition in here. But if we go to radios, I'm going to want to put in our ILS information. So for nav1, we're going to want 110.3. And then our missed approach, nav2 on the CYEG VOR. Let's see, where is CYEG right there, 117.6. Sorry, I was motioning on my other monitor. You can see CYEG is here to the southwest, west-southwest of the airport. And we're going to be taking the 32 radial up to our holding point at TDUG there. And it looks like it's 25 miles from CYEG is that waypoint. Alright, so now that we've got our radios programmed, let's go ahead and bring up our bearings. Well, let's go ahead and VOR1 and VOR2. Of course, we're still on standard pressure because we're just using a weather preset. So we don't have to worry about that. We did get our landing elevation programmed in. The airfield's at 2,372 feet, I think, so we just rounded that up to 2,380. We will calculate our speeds here in a minute once we get a little bit lower. And I believe that's our descent checklist basically taken care of. Landing elevation set, fuel quantity is checked, and we do have plenty of fuel to get to Edmonton. We're only about 15 minutes out as the crow flies, so I mean we are burning fuel a little bit, maybe more than I would like, but nothing too crazy. I did have an autopilot error during the cruise. We ended up doing a couple of circles, but not too bad. Radar set, TCAS is set, CAS is set. Landing data set, and we did the approach briefing. So now we just got to do our before landing check. And like I said, once we get lower, I'll go ahead and do our landing speeds here. So yeah, guys, just a reminder, if you want to see more Flight Simulator content, make sure you tell me in the comments. And if you want to interact with me more outside of the YouTube comment section, you can head over to my Discord. Link is in the description below. And I also want to shout out my favorite Flight Simulator channel lately. That's British Av Geek, and his channel supporters or subscribers, he calls them frequent flyers, get access to special liveries for Flight Simulator aircraft, and I just think they look really awesome, and he makes excellent content. So if you're looking for regular Flight Simulator content instead of just sporadic like I'm planning to do from here on out, go ahead and check out British Av Geek. Yeah, that is a great looking CRJ 700 livery. And they've got liveries for the PMDG DC-6, the Cessna 208, I think the Just Flight Pipers, of course the fly-by-wire A320, and I believe they even have one for the Salty 747 and the Heavy Division 787. So yeah, just about anything you want to fly in Microsoft Flight Simulator, they got this snazzy looking livery for you. So head on over to his channel and check it out, link in the description as well. Going to put in just a little bit of speed brake as we are approaching 10,000 feet, and of course the 250 knot speed restriction that comes with it. Just a couple notches of speed brake should do it, and we'll go ahead and we'll get the external landing lights switched back on as well. Now you may have noticed I didn't do it in the last video. I forgot to turn on the probe heat, but I did remember while we were climbing out, while I had the video cut for you guys, I did remember to turn those on. Of course, those should be turned on as soon as pushback is complete. So that was my mistake there. Like I said, I'm a little bit rusty. Haven't flown in a couple of weeks because of Farming Simulator. Speaking of, if you want to play multiplayer Farming Simulator, I will have a community server available in conjunction with Cutter Edge Studios and CI Gaming. So thank you to them for making a community server for us possible. More details on that will be coming soon as I have them. And in the meantime, you can head over to my Discord to get any updated information on that. Can you guys tell I'm really excited about my new Discord server? Or I should say our new Discord server? Alright, there's 250 knots. We can go ahead and pull in the speed brakes. And hopefully we'll just continue to decelerate as we get into the thicker air. And we'll be able to put in our first notch of flaps as we pass 230 knots. We're approaching ESCI in just a couple of minutes. We are well below the ESCI restriction of 19,000 or below. And we will hit that app kit restriction basically no problem. Is that 8? Oh, I thought that was 3 for a minute. That wouldn't be possible though, would it? Yeah, we will hit that app key restriction and no problem as well. Once we hit app key, I will go ahead and switch us to a heading hold mode. And that way we can intercept the ILS more efficiently, and it'll just give us a second to make sure that the ILS heading is set correctly. Sometimes the FMC will set it for you, sometimes you have to set it manually. Just depends on if it feels like working or not. As we get closer to actually landing, I will go ahead and turn track IR back on. But in the meantime, we can just enjoy our steady descent. Alright, now's probably a good time to get our speeds programmed in, just as before. We just set it right from the MFD, or sorry, from the electronic flight bag, EFB. And you see our speed we should be shooting for is 129 on the final approach and touchdown. I'm a little bit rusty, so I'm hoping this landing is a good one. So the heading that we're going to want to fly after we hit VIG-V is 110. So let's go ahead and get that selected. Like I said, once we hit VIG-V, we'll go ahead and we actually have a speed restriction of 210, which we're basically already there. Again, after we hit VIG-V, so we've got plenty of time. We still got 7 minutes before we're anticipated to hit VIG-V, thanks to our continual decel. And we're actually going to have to put in a little bit of throttle here as we're leveling off. You got to stay ahead of the CRJ or you'll end up stalling out. I want to keep the speed at about 220 for now, and as we approach VIG-V, we'll pull the throttles back and drop in another level of flaps. Let me see, double check speeds here. Next one would be 20. I had 20 still at 230 for our speed restrictions, so then it would be 185 and 170. Landing gear can go down at 220. We'll keep the landing gear up, though. Let's head back to a window view. I want to see that next level of flaps drop in. Very nice. Gorgeous window views. I've never flown into this area of the world before. Pretty much the only flying into Canada that I've ever done in the sim is into the Toronto area. So this is pretty interesting. I've heard some of the Canadian airports got kind of screwed over by Asobo, unfortunately. I'm hoping Edmonton's at least okay, and we're not going to have any like craziness in the middle of the runway or something. You know, knock on wood. Because I did not fly this flight before recording. I just decided, you know what, I want to fly today, and I want to get a recording done. Did some homework during the cruise. So it was also productive on more than one level. Alright, we've just hit VIG-V. Let's go ahead and bring our altitude down to 3,400, which is the recommended glide slope intercept. And let's go ahead and engage heading hold and change our nav source to Localizer 1. And we do need to set our course to 020. And we can go ahead and arm approach mode. Let's go ahead and bring our speed back. I want to get down to about 180 at this point. Once we turn onto the localizer, we'll go ahead and drop the landing gear. Alright, let's bring in our next notch of flaps. $175 is alright, I think. Or maybe a little bit low. Maybe I misread that chart. But you know what? We are holding steady at 3,400. So we will just go ahead and roll with it. Maybe that chart is actually more like a hard deck that I'm reading instead of the recommended height. But it is what it is. Right, we should be capturing the localizer here. There it goes. Localizer's captured. Let's bring down the landing gear. If that's not a thumbnail, I don't know what is. Oh, I just elbow slammed my microphone there. Hopefully I'll remember to edit that out if it was a loud sound. Put in a little too much throttle there. We need to be slowing down. Put in a little bit of speed brake. And we'll go flaps full. Alright, let's go ahead and turn track IR back on. Oh, too far. See what I mean about speed can get away from you really quickly? I was just in that little bit of time I was concerned about my viewpoint. We dropped way too slow. So I'm a little bit out of practice with the CRJ. Alright, let's get this HUD out of the way, actually. I would like a clearer landing picture. Landing.
Sink rate. 100. Minimums. 50. 40. 30.
Floating a little bit.
20. 10.
Thrust reversers. I never rearmed the thrust reversers. This is why checklists are important. Oh well, we've got plenty of runway. And you just come on down to a coast with our speed brakes. And we're below 60 knots, so we can start with some toe brakes. We'll pull the speed brakes back up, flaps back up, and we can make this turn here. Alright, landing lights can come off, taxi lights, strobe lights. Let's get the APU back on. Alright, see thrust reversers right there. Missed it. After landing, APU's coming back on. Transponder radar can go to radar button right there. Radar off. Transponder to standby. Slats and flaps are retracted. Lights are set. Probes can come off, and hopefully they'll have a chance to cool down before the ground crew can bump them and burn themselves. Alright, we're good for taxi. Let's go ahead and clean up the flight director there. Let's take a look at this aircraft on the ground, shall we? That's my track IR making things a little bit wobbly. Calgary, or not Calgary, Edmonton. Have I been saying Calgary? It's Edmonton. Alright. Doesn't look too bad for being a default airport. So far, no craters in the taxiway or the runway. Calgary is going to be my next leg. I don't know if I'm going to record that one or not. Maybe I should as a redemption after I got a few things wrong in this flight. Oh well. It is a game after all. So my plan is to do Edmonton to Calgary, and then Calgary to St. Louis. Oh, this is kind of a weird texture for the taxiway. So maybe I'll record one of those flights, or maybe I'll just record, maybe we'll do a mini-series on one of the in-game bush trips or something like that. Let me guys know what kind of flight simulator content you want to see, if you want to see any. I'm probably going to record a farming simulator video next, because that's the other game I've been playing a lot right now. And Emergency 4 will be making a return to the channel. I just needed a little bit of a break from it. But like I said in the last video, I am working on another Emergency 4 project that I will share with you guys sometime soon. It's just not quite ready to be shared yet. Alright, let's go ahead and let's scream into this stand here. That's a great place to park your baggage truck, guys. Alright, track IR back on to help with the shutdown. Parking brake set. Alright, let's go ahead and cut the fuel. Oh, come on. That's my air hauler flight completing. And then our external lights can go off since the engines are not running. Hydraulics. There we go. And seatbelts can come off. Boost pumps off. Air recirc off. And let's get that door open. Wheel chocks.
Way to the exit, and please make sure you have all your personal items and carry-on luggage.
Alright guys, there we go. Juneau, Alaska to Edmonton, Canada. Thank you for flying along with me. I hope to see you again soon. I hope to see you on the Discord channel as well. We've already got about 20 people on there. It'd be nice to get that up to 100 in maybe by the end of the year. That's kind of a lofty goal, but we'll see. Alright guys, until next time, I'm A Shadowbox, and you have a good one.